Hi, I'm Amber,
And I'm Kirsten,
and you're listening to
Lurking in the Shadows. Okay, welcome to our first podcast episode.
Welcome.
Yeah. Right now we're filming on Super Bowl Sunday.
Go Birds.
So I'm not sure when this will actually be released though. Probably like in a month.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the goal anyway.
Yeah, that's the goal. So today I'm going to be going over the case of Brianna Maitland. I can't remember how I came across this case. I think I was listening to a Mara Murray podcast, and her name was brought up.
Okay.
Because they went missing not too far apart. But no one talks about Brianna Maitland. Everyone talks about Mara Murray.
Yeah.
Like, you never heard of Brianna Maitland, so.
Mara Murray. So you told
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not as into Disappearance.
Yeah. So as you'll notice throughout our time here, I really thrive, or not really thrive. I am more drawn to missing persons, mysterious disappearances, mysterious deaths, things that are like unexplained, not known. Is that a cat?
Yes.
Sorry, my cat is chewing on a bag in the background. And then, Amber, you're more into like what?
I'm definitely probably more into the... Hey.
Like, get out of here.
I know. Get out.
You choose now to chew on a bag.
Go.
Oh, no.
So you chew on it?
No, please, God damn it. Now the cats are fighting. I have 2 cats.
Okay. So, my favorite, well, I don't like to say favorite.
I know, because it's not, yeah.
But most intriguing is probably the serial killers and the ones that get away with it.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Just because, like, even ones nowadays that got away with it for so long, like them just discovering the Long Island.
Yeah.
Serial.
I'm still following that case.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
I always hoped that case would be solved. I don't know why. I feel so bad for, like,
I know.
the prostitutes that they're very easy targets in many cases and no one cares.
No.
And so, I don't know, that case always, like, sat with me.
It's so recent.
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like the ones that for a long time get away with it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the psyche behind it.
Yeah.
Probably be mine.
I have a theory onto why I think I like the mysterious ones and unsolved ones is because, well, I hate gore, first of all. Like, I love horror. I love spooky. Halloween is our favorite holiday. We thrive on Halloween and everything spooky, hence bats and ghosts. But I do not like gore. Like, I cannot watch Saw. I will not watch the Terrifier movies, even though Brandon loves them.
Yeah.
And so, if mysterious disappearances, there's no gore most of the time.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Whereas, like, in murder, it's usually kind of gruesome.
Yeah, see, I don't mind the gore.
I don't know if that's why, but that's kind of my theory into why.
It could definitely be
Yeah.
that it's a lot more the mental than the physical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, get
Yeah.
your brain working a lot harder than just like a blatant murder in front of you.
Right,
that
yeah.
You have to solve or whatever.
All right, so we're going to discuss the case of Brianna Maitland, who mysteriously disappeared at the age of 17 on March 19, 2004, on her way home from work in Montgomery, Vermont. And just a funny little side, Brandon's birthday, my husband, is March 19th. Not 2004, but
No.
it's still weird that she went missing on his birthday. So Well, let's go into a little background about Brianna. Full name Brianna Alexandra Maitland. She was born on October 8th, 1986, so she's a spooky girl. In Burlington, Vermont, to parents Bruce and Kelly Maitland. She also has an older brother. He's never mentioned by name, like in any articles. I don't know if that's like by choice, if parents were protecting him or what, but I never like came across like what his actual name is. But she has an older brother who's 6 years older. They were raised on their parents' farm in East Franklin, Vermont, which is like a small town of only about 1,000 residents, like at that time. And it's only 2 miles from the U.S.-Canada border. Yeah,
That's
I know. There was more than that.
graduating class
Was 500, yeah. There was 2,000 students, about a little more, in our high school, so
that's more students in our high school. They did that
in their town. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's
She was just referred to as Bree by her friends, and she was trained extensively in jujitsu.
Okay, well.
Which we'll kind of come back to. Like, she should be able to defend herself,
Yeah.
Like, she enjoyed snowboarding, music, friends. She loved to read. She was described as being very responsible, like the caring type, and like type to like aid those in need, or like if someone was like being bullied or the underdog, like she would gladly step in and stand up for them. She owned a Shar-Pei and a cat named Muffin.
Oh my God, cute.
And like one of her friends gave an example that like if she was eating a candy bar and you wanted a slice, like she would just give you the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, so she was like the type of person to put others first. She attended, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, Missisquoi Valley Union High School.
Okay.
But she transferred to Enosburg Falls High School in October 2003 to be closer to friends. She was very independent. She lived like kind of on the border, I think, of the two school districts. So she was close, but like all her friends went to the other one, so that's why she wanted to transfer.
Okay.
But yeah, she was very independent. Even as a kid, she was the type that like wanted to do things on her own. Like she was the type to just like get on a bike and go. Like she doesn't want the training wheels. She doesn't want you to teach her, type of thing.
Yeah.
And she worked to support herself. She was interested in attending college, but didn't know what she wanted to study or like where she wanted to go, really. And like as part of her independent personality, she wanted to move out of her parents' home to be closer to her friends that lived like 15 miles away.
Okay.
Her dad also like moved out at the age of 17, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But after her 17th birthday in October, she began couch surfing and staying with different friends or like boyfriends during that time. Her family reports there were no stressors at home, but they did live a more secluded life, and like she wanted to be like out of the town. She didn't want to be like a farm girl. She didn't want to do what her parents did.
Okay.
The country life was not for her. So this went on for a few months, and because on February 4th, 2004, she dropped out of high school, actually, and she moved in with her friend named Jillian Stout, who Jillian lived in Sheldon, Vermont, which is about 20 miles west of Montgomery, where she goes missing.
Okay.
And then she did enroll in a GED program shortly after dropping out of high school. And on the morning of her disappearance, she had passed a math exam as the last part of her GED.
She would have got her D.
Yeah. And a little side note, on February 4th, so she goes missing March 19th. So on February 4th, she was actually physically assaulted by a former friend named Keely LaCrosse at a party.
Right.
According to an article written by Jessica Hargett, Brianna was hit in the face multiple times while seated in a truck. She sustained a broken nose and a concussion.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, she's trained in jujitsu.
Yeah.
But her friends say she refused to fight back. She just sat there and took it. Brianna did file charges against LaCrosse, but the charges ended up being dropped by police shortly after she vanished. The article I read says LaCrosse was cleared by police, but like it didn't really say exactly how they cleared her. So I'm not sure like if she really had an alibi or not. But I mean, it wasn't very clear.
There was witnesses.
Right.
Her get pummeled in the face.
Well, I meant like cleared in her disappearance.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, like as being involved. Yeah. Okay. So, but I didn't really find anything that said, "Oh, this was her alibi." Yeah. I also found a blog by the True Crime Twins podcast from November of 2018 where they interviewed Keely for her side. And she said that her and Bree were actually pretty close friends at one point. When Brianna had switched schools, she like walked up to Keely in the gym and like introduced herself, and they just like kind of became friends from there. And she joined Keely's friend group. Keely reported that they would get in Brianna's car and she would like drive them all over. They would all go hang out at Keely's boyfriend's house, and Brianna would like drive her home each night. So they were pretty close. They were also both on and off dating the same two guys.
Okay.
So
one of those.
there was some like boy drama, which they think was what sparked the punch in the face at the
Probably.
party.
Yeah.
Keely reports that Brianna betrayed her by staying with Keely's boyfriend for a week while Keely went away to Massachusetts. So it seems there was like some tension since then.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cheater,
yeah.
cheater.
So by this time, Brianna wasn't as close with the friends anymore because she had dropped out of high school and hadn't seen anyone in a few weeks. And then when Keely spotted her at that party, Brianna was with her now ex-boyfriend James at the party, in which Keely had dated James at one point as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So Keely does admit she was yelling at Bree, calling her names, but like Bree wouldn't say anything. She wasn't like instigating. And then not long after that, she spots her in the truck and then hits her. So I mentioned before that Keely was cleared by police, but it sounds like they didn't even really interview her because in the blog, they asked Keely about it. She says, "I have no idea. There wasn't a formal alibi, but I was very cooperative, always talked to them," referring to the Vermont State Police. So maybe that's why. But even she's saying she doesn't know why she was cleared.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine that you had to provide an alibi, and it was just so rock solid that they didn't need to interview her.
I don't know, but she's saying there wasn't a formal alibi. Keely said that herself.
Well, then that's just bad police work.
It is, which that will come into play more in this case, bad police work. But I don't know, so it's a little... So that happened before she was, missing.
We automatically jump to the conclusion that a woman's going to punch you in the face in the next murder.
No, right. So that's kind of her background and a little bit leading up to the disappearance. So on the morning of Friday, March 19th, 2004, Brianna passed that exam she needed to get her GED. So to celebrate, her and her mom went out for lunch, and then they went to go shopping because she needed black pants for her new waitress job that she was starting at a diner. When they were at the mall, Brianna told her mom she would be right back. She saw something outside, went outside. So her mom finished checking out, and then when her mom went out to her, she noticed Brianna's mood had shifted. She seemed on edge, but her mom didn't really pry her or ask her about it, which I think she regrets now. There is a podcast called the Crosspace Podcast. They did an episode on this case as well, and they reported that there was a rumor that I guess Brianna had talked to a person out there that warned her or threatened her not to go to work that night. But I didn't actually read that in any articles.
Yeah, I fizzled that out. It's just rumor.
But there is a private investigator that comes in then who he mentions it as well about this threat. But with Brianna being missing, I don't know how we know that actually happened unless the person that warned her not to go to work came forward. Yeah. But if they did, there's no name.
Yeah, so. It probably was anonymously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
know. If you remember earlier, I mentioned that she moved in with her friend Jill in February in Sheldon, Vermont. So they're at the store. This happens. Brianna's mom goes to drop her back off at Jill's place where she's been staying between 3:30 and 4 p.m. so she could get ready for her shift at her other job at the Black Lantern Inn in Montgomery, Vermont.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. So this job is about 30 minutes from Sheldon where she's staying with Jill. So the job's about 30 minutes away. This was the last time her mom saw her alive, dropping her off back at home to go to work. So the Black Lantern Inn is a combo of a hotel, bar, and restaurant. She had only actually been working there for about 2 weeks as a dishwasher. The inn was usually, even though it's February, the inn's usually pretty busy this time of the year because it's close to this popular ski resort called Jay Peak Ski Resort.
Okay.
And it's Vermont, so there's lots of like skiing, snowboarding, and all that. Before Bri left, she had left a note for Jill saying, because Jill was going away for that weekend. On the note, Brianna mentioned she would be home after her shift between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. And then one article said that Jill was going to visit a mom, one said a grandmother, and one said a boyfriend. So either way, Jill was leaving for the weekend. So Brianna worked her shift. She left work around 11:20 p.m. Her coworkers had invited her to hang out, but she told them like she needed to get home to sleep before her second job in the morning at KJ's Diner, which is now called Tim's Place. The name changed. So she is seen by her coworkers leaving work at 11:20 p.m. She headed west along Route 118, towards Sheldon. And then this is the last known sighting of her. And then, like, what happened next is just unknown.
Okay. Wow.
So it's just, it gives me chills. Like, it's eerie.
Driving.
Yeah, she's leaving work drive. They see her driving away.
Last surveillance of her car. And that's it.
Yep, 11:20 p.m. She drove a green 1985 Oldsmobile. Yeah. The next day, on Saturday, March 20th, a Vermont state trooper was dispatched to an abandoned house on Vermont Route 118 known as the Old Dutchburn House. So this was around 1:22 p.m. The report was made by a group of people known as the World Travelers. They were on their way to the Jay Peak Ski Resort. Okay. They thought the scene was so bizarre that they stopped to take their own pictures of it. Yeah. With the little, little Kodak cameras, It was 2004. They reported seeing loose change, a broken necklace, and a water bottle outside of the car. All right, so her car was found crashed into this old Dutchburn house, which is abandoned. No one lives there anymore, which is only 1.4 miles down the road from the Black Lantern Inn. 1.4 miles down the road. I'm going to show you a photo because it'll put a little more in perspective. And every photo I reference, I will post on our Instagram if you want to follow it, Lurking in the Shadows podcast on Instagram. So like 2 minutes after leaving work, presumably, something happens. She crashes her car, but it wasn't crashed like head on into the house like you would think.
Okay.
The trunk end was in the house.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like almost like someone put it in reverse and hit the gas, and one of the hind wheels was up on the foundation of the house in such a way it was unable to be driven back out. So I'm going to show you the picture.
Okay.
That's how her car is. This is like the most famous photo. That's how her car is crashed into this house. So the road is, let me find a better picture. So this is before, this is the road. So it's like right off the road pretty much.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, so when she was driving home, the house would have been on her left.
Okay, so she's driving home.
So there's a little description here. So here's her car. The house would be on the left. So she has to go past the house and then for some reason cross the other lane to back into the house. Isn't that weird? Like, how does that happen?
Why cross lanes? And then, because you wouldn't pull a Yui like that.
Right. Like, it seems like she may have been panicked about something and then tried to get away quick. Maybe she hit the gas instead of the brake.
Yeah. And
just accidentally floored it. But then where'd she go? Like, why is she missing that?
Yeah. So that's a house that was unoccupied?
Right, it's abandoned.
Abandoned house that she would have drove by 1.5 miles.
Yeah, it's only 1.4 miles down the road from her job. Because there's this other photograph that says, so here's where the Black Lantern Inn is. She's just driving here, and then here's the house. So it's like a 2-minute drive down the road. Something happens.
There was no tire tracks?
No. Like, only her car. There's no other vehicle tire tracks.
Okay. Was there her tire tracks to show that what she did was cross the lane and back in?
They didn't, in my research, they didn't say a whole lot about tire tracks.
Kind of evidence like that, okay.
And there's no evidence of another vehicle being involved. Okay. But, like, you don't just crash and then you disappear.
I'm gonna guess you're gonna tell me about the car.
Yeah, we'll go a little more into it, but also the police did not do a good investigation. Yeah, so there's a lot of that too. So there is actually a little story about the Dutchburn House before we go more into the story. So 2 farmers lived there that were brothers. The Myron farmers, they were Mike, age 75, and his brother Harry, age 76, at the time this story takes place in 1986. So they lived in this farmhouse probably for many years. So they were farmers. They like woke up each day at 4 a.m., tended to their cattle. And they didn't really like leave much. They didn't go like travel far or anything like that. They were noted to be humble. And it said that many drivers have difficulty navigating the curve along Route 118. Many drivers would get stuck in mud or snow, and it said the brothers lost count of how many drivers they'd rescued on their property.
Okay.
But of course, this happened at a time when it was abandoned, so it's like, man, if they still lived there, like, could they have helped her?
It would have been March.
Yeah.
There could have most definitely
been snow, yeah. But, so on January 3rd, or 31st of 1986, at 2 a.m., at 2 a.m., they heard a voice outside of their residence that woke them saying, "Harry, Harry," like at the door.
Okay.
The stranger said he had run out of gas, and the brothers like yelled out that they had none. And then the stranger began pounding on the door. So Mike started heading down the stairs to go answer the door, but as he approached it, the door was already being kicked in.
Okay, wow.
Mike's like told the stranger, like, "You shouldn't be here," and he was punched in the face with brass knuckles.
Wow.
And then the brother tried to put the guy in a headlock, but he was quickly overpowered, and he was bludgeoned over the head with his thick maple cane.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So they were like savagely beaten. The intruders apparently were aware that the men had carried large sums of cash. And then it said like the robbers made off with about like $6,000.
Oh my God.
The men laid on the kitchen floor for over 3 hours. It said like Harry was unconscious and Mike was like frozen with fear. But then in the morning, Mike staggered out of the home to go to neighbors for help. So both men lived, but they had like significant injuries. Yeah. And they never really got over the attack. They were kind of like dealt with insomnia, not trusting others. So eventually they ended up just like living in a nursing home. So it's very sad. Like, if this hadn't happened, would they still have been living there in 2004? Could they have been a witness to what happened? Could they have helped her? But yeah. And then in 2016, a group of teenagers burned the house down. So now the house isn't even there anymore. So that's just kind of a little background on the Dutchburn House. So at the time Brianna went missing, it was abandoned. There's like the door and like the windows are all boarded up. Okay, so on the next day, so we said she went missing on March 19th. Like, she left work 11 p.m. The next day in the afternoon is when those people stopped to take pictures. But there were actually a few reported sightings of the vehicle in that weird position not long after she left work that night. Like, before the ski team even called in the police the next morning.
There was already reports?
Yeah, these reports came in after. Like, there were witnesses that saw the vehicle when they were driving on the road.
Yeah. I can't believe none of her coworkers drove past it.
I know, yeah. I don't know if they lived a different way. I don't know. Maybe they went the other way. I don't know.
Like, I feel like everybody you work with, like, you know what vehicle it is.
Right, yeah.
You know?
And they saw her leave in that vehicle, so. But apparently the car was found with the headlights still on and the driver and passenger doors wide open.
Okay.
A piece of plywood was lying on the trunk and one of the back wheels was suspended in the air like I mentioned before. Which, again, I'll post pictures because the house is very eerie looking, like, with it being boarded up and everything. And then the piece of plywood on the trunk came from one of the windows. Okay. So this first sighting was reportedly at, like, 12:15 a.m. Another source said between like 11:30 or around 11:30. So sometime between 11:30 and 12:30 was the first sighting. So that's only like an hour after she left work.
Yeah, upward.
So if something happened and someone else was like involved, like that's not a lot of time. But we'll kind of go into some theories then. So that first sighting was by the man who saw the car with the headlights on. He didn't see anyone in or around the car. The next report was at approximately 12:30, so shortly after him, someone else drove by, and they thought they saw the turn signal flashing, but they did also not see anybody there. Brianna's own ex-boyfriend, James Robitaille, reported seeing her car on his way home from a party in Canada. For this, one source said around 2:30 a.m., another said 4 a.m., since he recognized the vehicle, because he knew Brianna, she drove that vehicle, he recognized that he pulled over, he shut the lights off and shut the doors, but he never called police about it, likely because he had been drinking and he didn't want to get in trouble himself. But he also says he did not see Bree there at all, either. So his story about the times, like either being 2:30 or 4 a.m., was a little inconsistent, but he has since sadly passed away in, like, I think it was a motor vehicle crash. I don't know if it was a car or motorcycle, but I'm not sure. It didn't say, but he died in July of 2019. So we unfortunately can't get any more information from him, but it seemed like police pretty much cleared him. They didn't think he had any involvement. So after the state trooper arrived on the 20th, the next day after the ski goers reported it, they saw a used cigarette and 2 uncashed checks from the Black Lantern in her car. The police officer stopped by the Black Lantern Inn to interview staff, but it was closed at that time. So he just assumed the scene wasn't suspicious. It was just a drunk driver. So he had the car towed to an impound lot. Didn't run the plates, nor did he contact Kelly Maitland, who the car was registered to. So even though it's like Brianna's car and she's driving it, it's in her mom's name. So that's the 20th. Jill comes home from her weekend away on the 22nd of March and notices that the note Brianna left was still sitting there. She was worried but not immediately alarmed, but when Brianna still didn't come home on the 23rd, she called Brianna's mom, Kelly, to ask if, like, Bree had maybe gone back home with them. And Kelly said no. So Kelly had, like, called around to some of Bree's friends, but no one had seen her or talked to her. So she filed a missing persons report with the police on the 23rd. That night, Bree's dad, Bruce, was actually away on a business trip in New York, and he drove that night the whole way home. He came home that night, and then they reported her to police. So on March 25th, Kelly and Bruce gave pictures of Brianna to Vermont State Police. So I'll just, like, show you kind of what she looks like. But she was pretty. She had brown hair. So that's what she looks like.
Aww. She's very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that smile.
Let's go the other way. That's her with her kitty.
Muffin.
I know. I feel like we would be good friends.
I bet.
Like, because also I think I read somewhere that she also was kind of like into like rock music and stuff too. Oh, yeah. And this is a picture of her after the fight as well, goodness. Of her with her black eye. Yeah. So that's what Brianna looks like. Just so there's a little context to the story. And then again, like I said, I will post all the photos I'm referencing, since you can't see them, onto our Instagram. Yes, at Lurking in the Shadows podcast. So on the 25th, Kelly and Bruce gave pictures of Brianna to the Vermont State Police. A trooper showed them a picture of Brianna's car in case it was connected, and they immediately recognized it as Brianna's car.
It's so frustrating, though. If they would have just...
Mm-hmm.
If they would have just...
Right. Because she went missing on the 19th. This is now the 25th.
Yeah.
That's lots of time that has gone by. Ugh. Her mom said, "My stomach rolled. I started to shake. I saw evil in that picture." And, like, it's disturbing.
It is.
Like, the way her car is.
Yeah.
Like, it's scary. Like how do you crash into a house like that?
And just disappear.
And then you're gone.
Yeah.
So on March 30th, police examined Brianna's car for evidence, and they collected DNA and fingerprints. At first, police were skeptical that foul play was involved and assumed she was a runaway based on her living situation.
Fuck yeah, she just abandoned her car and ran away.
Yeah, I know. In that position, yeah. Like, what?
Oops, let's go.
But they did search the abandoned house and the surrounding area on foot with canines, but they did not find anything. No footprints.
10 days?
Yeah. Well, 6 days.
Didn't you just say on the 30th?
Oh, yeah, on the 30th. Well, that's when they examined the car. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But yeah, she went missing on the 19th. But yeah, they did search the surrounding area on foot with canines, did not find anything. No footprints or other tire tracks were noted. And then when the car was returned to her parents, her dad found contact lenses in a case, prescription migraine medication, and her ATM card.
So she doesn't even have.
No.
That means of pain.
And none of this was like noted by police in their search. Her dad's finding this still in the car.
What the?
So none of that was taken in as evidence.
So what did they take in as?
I think just the stuff that was found outside the car, like the water bottle, the necklace. Okay. But I couldn't find any like police reports. Like they just did not do a good investigation. That's probably why I couldn't find any. Her dad told police these items were items she would not leave without. And then is when they acknowledged that there may have been foul play. There was a $20,000 reward posted in 2004 leading to her whereabouts. But that event then expired, so that $20,000 isn't there now. But so that's the timeline of events leading up to her disappearance. And like kind of like immediately after, 2 weeks after Brianna was last seen, the Class Kids Foundation came to Vermont to aid in the search. And the Class Kids Foundation was founded by Mark Class, the father of 12-year-old Polly Class, who was abducted and murdered in 1993. I don't know if you know that story or not.
I feel like I do know that name.
You probably know the name, yeah. So this nonprofit advocates for laws protecting children from crime. They've also conducted hundreds of searches for missing people and trained over 1,600 professional search and rescue volunteers. On April 3rd, 4th, and 5th, the foundation brought more than 500 volunteers to help canvass the area within a 5-mile radius of where Brianna's car was found, but unfortunately nothing was found.
Yeah, of course.
She just, vanished without a trace. All right, so on April 15th, the police received an anonymous tip that Brianna was being held captive in a house in Berkshire, Vermont, that was being rented by 2 men named Raymond L. Ryans and Nathaniel Charles Jackson. I feel like bad people always go by 3 names.
Or Raymond. Remember, Raymond was the first name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of, serial killers and stuff, like John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah, there's always...
they go by, 3 names, but anyway. So they were known drug dealers from New York, so police raided the house that same day. They found paraphernalia, cocaine, and marijuana, but found no sign of Brianna. There were rumors that Brianna was involved with drugs, and initially it appeared to be casual usage. However, it soon came to light that Brianna was a bit deeper into drug use than initially believed. Her friend Shauna said that Brianna told her she'd use crack cocaine and marijuana at parties. So Greg Overacker, he's a private investigator hired by the Maitlands, who I'll mention a little later. He said he was able to place Brianna with Ryan and Jackson many times, some in one-on-one situations. So she does have some sort of connection to these guys. After the raid, they were arrested on drug charges, but as of today, neither man has been charged in her disappearance. There's also a crazy story from this anonymous, they said older woman, that was made later in 2004, claiming that both men are involved in Brianna's disappearance and alleged murder. So the affidavit, is that how you say that?
Yeah, affidavit.
That just sounds wrong for some reason.
It just feels weird.
Yeah.
Now.
The affidavit alleges that both men had been involved in the murder and gave graphic details. It claims she had an argument, she as in Brianna, had an argument with Ryan's over money she lent him to buy crack, and that Ryan killed Brianna during the argument, and he temporarily stored her body in the basement of the reporting woman's house. Then he used a table saw to dismember her body and dispose of it at a local pig farm.
No, this old lady's crazy.
Yeah, none of this has been corroborated by law enforcement. Like, there's no evidence that this happened, but it is a disturbing story nonetheless. Like,
I really don't. I think she's just a crazy old coot. I needed a story.
In January 2006, there was a sighting of a woman that looked like Brianna sitting at a casino table in Atlantic City, New Jersey, by a tourist from Vermont. And there's video footage of her that does resemble Brianna, but the woman has never been identified, nor has she ever come forward saying, like, hey, that was me, I'm not Brianna, nor the man she was playing blackjack with, which I'll show a picture of this woman as well. Brianna's father said at the time, this is the most important lead we've had because it's real video. He agreed it looked like her, but wasn't certain. Her brother also saw the video, and within a few minutes he said he knew it wasn't her, but their grandmother thought it was her. So, unsure, but that's like... And it does kind of look like her. The only thing I noticed, though, is Brianna clearly has, like, naturally straight hair.
Yeah.
As you can see in photos. And in this picture, the woman has, like, wavy hair. But it doesn't look like styled wavy hair. Like, it looks like naturally wavy hair, in my opinion. But... So that would be, like, my main, like, thing for saying maybe it's not her. But it does kind of look like her.
Also, like, how junky she looking.
Well, it's also, this was, what, 2006, when this video was seen. And so it's grainy, it's not very good quality.
Yeah.
So.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know about that one.
And, like, gives you hope, like, oh, maybe she was still out there.
Like, but I'm stuck on the car.
Yeah, I know.
She's not.
Right, why is even if that was her, what happened here, and why didn't she, like, tell anyone? Like,
yeah, like, the normal thing that would happen if near you on a random night, for however this happened, got into their car into this position, we would not just, like, start walking in the middle of the night?
Right, and this was March in Vermont.
Yeah.
Like, you can see there's snow on the ground. Yeah, like, it's cold.
So, like, I feel like the smart thing that you would have done is wait for somebody to come by.
Right, and people did not long after.
Yeah.
People reported seeing the car, at least 3.
You know, as a sick woman out there, I feel like your best bet, like, she was intelligent, she was smart.
Right.
You know, like, why wouldn't she have stayed with the vehicle unless something interfered to not let her stay with the vehicle?
And, like, as you can also see in these other pictures, it's, like, a pretty remote area. Like, there's no other houses around, really. There's one. So this is the Dutchburn House. You can see there is, like, something else here.
Okay.
But that's still, like, they're not right now. Yeah.
Like, that's probably, I don't know, at least a quarter of a mile.
Yeah. Down the road a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's, like, nothing around. Even here, there's farmland all around. So it's a pretty remote area. Yeah.
So no, I don't believe that lead.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't believe that one. I mean, I know, like, they all have to hold out hope.
Right.
And, like, that's sometimes the easiest thing for parents and things like that. And of course, I want that to be her. I want that to be
right. Yeah.
I don't think
it doesn't explain what happened here.
No, I don't think her running away is not even within the realm of possibilities in my head.
Right.
Looking at this.
Right. And, like, she's working 2 jobs.
Yeah.
She got her GED.
She literally just got her like, she probably...
That night.
Yeah, I don't
or that day.
know if would she have gotten her results right away? Did she even know that she...
I don't know.
She must have if she wanted to sell them.
That's true, yeah. She probably didn't know, yeah.
She must have. So, like, I mean, I guess...
Like, she was clearly working towards a better future. Why would she run away? Why would you even bother to get your GED if you're going to run away?
Yeah. Or... bust your ass working 2
Right, why would you work 2 jobs and buy new black pants for that job just to run away?
Just to be like, yeah, oh, darn, I got my car stuff. That's the end.
Right, I'm going to run away now.
She did not do that.
No. Nope.
You can't. No. Somebody else is
I know.
I don't know who.
I know. Okay.
Or what. Go ahead.
So unfortunately, the woman in the video is still unidentified. But, like, the other thing is, like, I also wonder, like, have they tried to, like... track this person down now, today? Like,
yeah.
It's 2025. Like, I feel like we have video. How can they not identify this person now? Unless they're deceased or something. But
I mean, yeah, it was how long ago?
But anyway, so Brianna's dad, Bruce, he is, like, pretty much her biggest supporter, investigator. He took things into his own hands and did whatever he could to find his daughter. He would express to police that something was very wrong in the beginning, but they would blow him off. So he took it upon himself to interview her friends and coworkers. He even asked the Black Lantern Inn for a list of everyone that called the inn that night that she went missing. Because he was going to call them.
Okay, yeah.
Like, he's doing his own investigation. Yeah.
Detective work.
He's doing it all.
Yeah.
And then in 2006, a private investigator named Greg Overacker offered his services to the Maitlands, and like Kelly, the wife, was all for it, but Bruce was a little skeptical at first. But him and Greg eventually become very close, and Greg put in a lot of time and energy to help find Brianna. He even wrote a book on the case called The Hunt for Brianna Maitland: The Relentless Pursuit of Answers to One of Vermont's Biggest Mysteries. He was also the inspiration for Bruce to start his own nonprofit organization called Private Investigations for the Missing, because he has experienced firsthand the devastation that comes with like having a missing loved one, and he knows how limited the police can be in resources and funding. So he started it in honor of his daughter and to help other families that may not be like able to afford a PI because they're very expensive.
Yeah.
I will link their website as well. If you want, you can help donate directly on their website at www.investigationsforthemissing.org. You can also support them by shopping their apparel store, and right now they are currently helping with 34 cases, and they have a list of them. One of them is actually a guy that went missing from Tamaqua, Pennsylvania, which is up in Schuylkill County. So it's actually not that far where me and Brianna lived in Schuylkill Haven. So I thought that was like, oh, wow. Because like I had found out about that case from this like Schuylkill County Facebook group I was on. So I was like kind of cool to see his picture on that website that they're like trying to help find him. But if you have any information on any of the 34 cases currently on their site, you can call toll-free 1-866-331-6660 or email piftmtips@gmail.com. So again, I'll link all that information then. And then one of their cases is also Mara Murray.
Yeah, good.
So there has been talk about the similarities between Mara and Brianna, and if the cases are connected. Because Mara went missing in New Hampshire, but the states are very close.
Yeah.
Mara Murray went missing just weeks before Brianna on February 9th, 2004, also under mysterious circumstances after a car crash just 90 miles away in Haverhill, New Hampshire. So, like, very similar. So I know people were saying, oh, was there, like, a serial killer? Or, like, could the same person have done this? But I know.
So, single women at night, you know, like, on a abandoned road.
Right.
I mean, Mara's wasn't really abandoned. There was a freaking house right there.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I know.
I don't know if I can get a connection. But
yeah, there's been no evidence to show that they're related in any way, other than they're two young women who crashed their cars and were never seen again. So it's just like
we say, like there's no.
I know there's no coincidence in true crime, but in this case, I think there is because they didn't know each other. Like, right?
Like that's a heck of a difference.
And in like Brianna's case, she was in such a remote area. How would someone have known she was leaving work at 11:20 p.m. at night unless they were like a stalker and followed her and waited for her? Like, there's no way the same person did both of them. Yeah. So I
think they're related. Both very weird.
Weird, yeah.
That are ironically kind of similar, but I don't think.
Yeah, I personally don't really think they're related either.
Yeah.
Just the weird thing is, like, I feel like everyone in true crime knows Mara Murray. Everyone knows her name, but not Brianna's name.
Yeah.
And they were just a few weeks apart, 90 miles apart, but no one really talks about Brianna. In 2007, the FBI got involved in Brianna's case, and they created a flyer saying the scene may have been staged to look like an accident. It still doesn't explain where she would have went after. But her parents speculated that she may have been abducted by multiple people because it likely would have been difficult for a single assailant to subdue her given her extensive jiu-jitsu training. Because, like, I feel like she could have beat someone up. She could have made her way, if it was just one person.
Yeah.
It's likely that she would have been able to defend herself.
So I can get with the whole staging. Okay, like I could see that.
Because like how do you crash your car like that accidentally?
However, then why or how would she have gotten out of that car? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and I'm not talking the crime wise. I'm talking, was somebody on the road she stopped to help?
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Or, like, did the car run afterwards, Like, did it have a flat tire? Did anything like that? Like, did she pull over and somebody else pulled over?
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Was there something in the road?
And then another thing, like, even if it was staged, why wouldn't they have staged it with going headfirst in to make it look like a true car crash? Unless they didn't want to injure themselves in the process.
Was like a panic drive into trying to drive her car out, got it stuck with the plywood. I was thinking they got the plywood trying to form a ramp to get traction underneath that tire that's not touching the ground so that they could get it out.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe if somebody was like rushing, accidentally did the hell up because you're in a hurry.
Even if they're staging it?
No, I was thinking maybe they're trying to drive away with the car.
Oh, okay. But they couldn't.
And like, they finally were just like, okay, look, I'm just leaving the car. But maybe it was two people.
Right.
One was driving the car away.
Right.
One wasn't.
But then how did they get away? Like, was there another vehicle involved? Right.
So maybe it was two people and, they were going to maybe try and just take her the car. But I don't know. There's two checks in there.
I know. And like, if this was some sort of like robbery or whatever, yeah, they would have taken her checks.
Yeah, robbery at all.
No.
So, yeah, maybe it's.
I know. Either way, if someone clearly someone must have subdued her in some way, but I hope she beat their ass good in the process. I hope they had broken bones, teeth, broken, like, black eye. I hope she.
I hope whoever.
Oh, I know. I hope she used all her training the best she could. I know. Hanging out.
Yeah. Never walk straight again.
Yeah, same. Maybe you can never see again.
Yeah. You always wipe.
While you're right-handed.
Yeah. Because you can't feel that anymore.
Right.
She punched
so
hard.
Yeah.
She's a badass. I know it. She
had to have. With that training.
Yeah.
100%. All right, so we're into theories now.
All right. I can't say I'm into too many theories.
I know.
Good ones.
Yeah.
But let's zero.
So these are the theories that are out there to try to explain what happened. So going back to the casino sighting, human trafficking is a possibility. That's one theory.
I mean, how popular is human trafficking? I know it's everywhere, but like.
So there's a Detective Baker that was on the case that said Vermont to New York was a route for drug trafficking. And it's a theory that's always been at like the forefront of their minds. There was talks of a drug overdose at a party. But like the first sighting was like approximately 1 hour after she left work. So how is that enough time to go to a party, overdose, and crash on your way home? And like, why would she be going to a party when she told her friends, like, no, I'm not going to hang out with you after work because I need to go home and sleep? Right. Well, also, not just that, but like her friends or her coworkers offered for her to hang out with them after work, and she said, no, I have to go home and sleep. I work in the morning. So like, why would she go to a party? Like, that doesn't even...
And that's another thing, right there. She has future plans.
Right.
Yes. I have to work. She's being responsible. So, she did not just walk away from this vehicle.
Right.
She had work in the morning.
I know.
She's responsible.
She needs that car.
That would give me anxiety.
I know.
Like, I gotta get to work, sir. Please don't kidnap me.
So there's also the possibility that someone may have followed her from the Black Lantern Inn, or maybe she went to meet up with someone at this house because they did mention like she knew those two like drug dealers. There's talks of her being involved in drugs herself. So maybe like this house is like a meetup place. Maybe there's like squatters in there. I don't know.
Okay, this is the best theory so far for me.
Yeah.
Of like that or somebody following.
Yeah. So there's talks that maybe she went to meet up with someone, but like with the way her car is, obviously, it makes it look like she was panicked and trying to get away quick. Yeah. But like again, if that's the case, why? And who? Like, it's just... And then it's like, also, if she was there to like meet up with someone, like, was it someone she knows? Was she like flagged down by a stranger to like,
Yeah.
hey, like, help me, like
That's what
something?
I'm saying. I feel like someone would have had to get her to pull over
Right.
somehow. Why? Because she's on a random road by herself.
Yeah.
Why are you pulling over, girl?
Right.
Like, I get trying to like help people,
Mm-hmm.
but like,
Because it said like she would help anybody.
I know. So she probably.
So her stopping to help someone is a theory, it's a possibility. But then, like, how did they know a young girl, bless you, how did they know a young girl would be driving by that they could kidnap?
Yeah.
Like, was this, like,
And at night, you're not.
motive of opportunity? Like,
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe wrong place, wrong time.
yeah.
It just so happened.
Which happens.
Yeah. Capitalized on the moment of, like, wow, look at this young woman
Right.
in the middle of nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of the night, and I got her stopped.
Right.
And it was just some psycho who isn't right
Mm-hmm.
and was just like, I'm taking it, doing it.
Because then also, like, maybe, I don't know, maybe she got out, ran back in her car to try to get away quick and accidentally put it in reverse.
Yeah.
Or was there someone else in the car with her? So when she left the Black Lantern Inn, no one reports seeing anyone with her. Like, could someone have been hiding in her back seat or something and then startled her?
Yeah. When you first started the story, I was saying, because it was in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
they're big. They're like boats.
Yeah. Oh, you could break into that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know how much you block
right
like that, you know, but
mm-hmm.
like if you really wanted to, you can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, my grandfather hot-wired a car back in the 80s.
I mean, this was 2004, but yeah, it's like an old car, so it wouldn't be hard to do.
No.
Mm-hmm. Right. But then in that case, it's like, who? Did she have a stalker? Did she she was a dishwasher though, so she couldn't have been with that, like, seeing that many customers where she would like, oh, this is a regular I talk to who's obsessed with me now. Like, she's in the back washing dishes.
So night, you're up front chit-chat.
Might be, yeah.
I mean, what I heard.
It said it was busy this time of the year, but.
I mean, it's late at night. Maybe
mm-hmm.
it wasn't as busy. I don't know what day of the week it was, but.
This was. I think it was a Friday night.
You would think it would be busy, but maybe it's such a. I don't know.
I know, it's
but
so.
I can picture her socializing, like,
mm-hmm.
busy, she's caught up on her dishes, because like I can picture myself when I was working at the restaurant,
mm-hmm.
like,
yeah,
in the back, in the front, in the back, in the front,
mm-hmm.
you know, and probably her too, even though, like, what was she was 17,
mm-hmm. She could have been, yeah. She was actually only at this place for 2 weeks, so I don't know, like, how much cross training she would have had by then. Yeah, she was only working there 2 weeks, so that's not even enough time for someone to really, like, yeah. So it doesn't seem like stranger doesn't really seem as likely, I feel like.
Not stranger from the restaurant per se,
mm-hmm.
but maybe
stranger along the side of the road, yeah.
Dark road.
Or, yeah. Or was there, well, yeah, I don't know. Because I was like, well, maybe like one of the drug dealers or whatever waited for her to get off and they were going to ride back somewhere together. But like I said, people said they saw her leave alone.
Yeah.
But like, how did she back into the house like that? It looks like a panic thing. It doesn't look, it looks panicked.
I feel like
and unintentional.
I feel like it was somebody else. I don't feel like it was her.
I think there's a good possibility it was her that did it.
You do?
I think she was trying to get away. But like, what situation made her stop and pull over? Because also, like, if you look at like the front of the house, there is like some grass there.
Yeah.
And like, why wouldn't you have pulled right there? You know what I mean? Like, why would she even like make her car in a way where she would back in?
Yeah.
At that angle of the side of the house. Unless maybe she had pulled around back to do some sketchy drug deal. And then she's leaving this side of the house on this side, and then I don't know, again, why is she backing up?
Because she needed to keep coming this way.
Right.
She wouldn't turn around and go back that way.
Right, because if you're pulling out of the house, she would need to go left to continue back home.
She first went up. So she wouldn't, the direction the car's facing is not the direction she wants to be going.
I know. Because it's either like, she was either like driving and passing the house and then stops.
Yes, that's what I'm picturing.
And backs in.
That's what I'm picturing.
Or she's stopping before pulling into the grass and pulling over or pulling around the house. But it still doesn't explain, how are you backing in? Why are you backing into the house?
Yeah.
Because it's on the left.
Yeah.
Like, so you have to drive past it a little bit.
Yes, to get where her car was.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. I know, so there was, in the Crawl Space podcast, they had, like, interviewed someone that was friends with her, and she seems to think, not necessarily that she knows who did it, but someone in that town knows who did it, but no one wants to come forward.
I feel like drugs is a good theory.
Mm-hmm.
If she was having a problem, an abandoned house, that's a perfect meetup spot.
It is, yeah.
Those two drug dealers.
And at 11:30 at night?
Yeah. I mean, shit. Not that I was ever buying crack, but you best believe I've bought my shit that late at night.
And, like, it's, like, in the middle of nowhere, so it's pitch black. Like, there's not going to be street lights. No one's going to see what you're doing. And it's an abandoned house, so there's no lights that come in from that house.
No. Yeah.
Just your headlights.
We're in Pennsylvania. We got those pitch black roads. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, there ain't no way I'm getting out of the car.
Right. Unless it's you know someone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I feel like drug deal, something with that is very likely.
With an intention, like, or even if she didn't know him, if she's getting out.
But then it also seems like, if that was the case, like, what happened in the moment to make them make her disappear? Like, did they get high right there and she overdosed right there? And they're like, oh my God, I gotta get rid of this body. Like, or was it a money issue? Like, she's not paying them enough or something? I know.
I want to know if she had cash.
Right.
Like, if she...
We know her ATM card was there. They could have taken her ATM card. They could have stole that.
Yeah. But they would have easily been tracked. Maybe they were trying to be smart.
Yeah,
like
that's true. So if
they were squatters or something, like drug dealers, where I don't feel like they would have messed with the ATM.
Yeah, I don't know. But, like, right. So if the crime happened right there, like, what? What was it? Like, what went down?
Yeah.
And where is she now? What did they do with her?
Yeah. Is that all the theory?
There's one more. Okay. But, so the last one is Israel Keys. Do you know him? So he was caught because of a young girl he killed in Alaska. She was at this little, like, pop-up coffee stand.
Okay.
And he killed her. And then he, like, took her into, like, his shed. And there's a famous photo that he took of her. He, like, sewed her eyes open, something crazy. And there's a photo of her to make it look like she's alive. Yeah. So he was the guy that had, like, those, like, kill boxes all over in different states.
Okay.
Yeah. So he is a theory because he had victims in Vermont. But the FBI was able to rule him out as not being there at that time. So that's a ruled out theory, but his name is brought up. It is, yeah. So some updates in the case. In March of 2016, police revealed they found unknown DNA in her car.
Oh, there was DNA?
There was, yes. So in 2020, the DNA samples were submitted to Othram Inc., which is a sequencing lab in Houston, Texas. In March of 2022, the Vermont State Police revealed they had found a match to the DNA sample found in her car. The identity of the person has not been released, although officials did say it belonged to one of 11 people they tested previously in connection to her disappearance, and that person has been very cooperative with the police.
Okay.
Nothing else has really since come from this, sadly, because police said there's not enough evidence to consider that person a suspect.
Oh, no, there's no evidence.
There isn't.
No, there's no.
But they have their DNA.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, could this have been a friend that rode in her car a few times?
As if something happens to you in 2 weeks, I was.
Right.
Yeah. Like, they'd come question me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because my DNA would be in your car.
Mm-hmm.
But.
So it's like, it's so hopeful. It's like, there's DNA, but like, it also could mean nothing.
Yeah. We can't just.
Because they're not releasing the name. We don't know who it is.
No idea what the relation is, what they were doing that night, what. Nothing. What kind of person they are, what if they're a drug dealer?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it's a suspicious person.
We got to.
I know. Like, this case can be solved.
Yes.
I think, like, that her one friend said, someone in Vermont, they know they were a witness or they were involved. They know, but they won't come forward. And even she said, I think I remember her saying, like, she thinks she might know who it was. But I even think she said, like, she was kind of, like, scared to say anything, like, because something might happen to her. But
yeah.
The Crawlspace podcast goes into a lot more detail about that because they, like, actually interviewed people, but yeah, I don't know. But I think this case is solvable, and I hope that they can. But it's still, I think her body is going to be the main thing. Like, where is she?
If they found it, they'd have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to, like, know the cause of death. That could also help.
Yeah.
Like, if there was no injuries, then maybe they could say, oh, it was an overdose. You know? I don't know. But on March 19th, 2024, so the 20-year anniversary of her disappearance, Craig Tremoroli, special agent in charge of the FBI's Albany field office, and Colonel Matthew Birmingham from Vermont State Police announced that the FBI is offering a reward of up to $40,000 for information leading to the recovery of Brianna Maitland. So they're offering $40,000 and still no one is saying anything.
Yeah. Come on, that's a
and it seems like they know she's probably likely not alive because it was to their recovery.
Yeah, they know. That's what I'm saying. Like the girl in that video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Craig is quoted saying, "Someone out there may have information that can help solve this case. It's been too long and it's time to come forward. No tip is too small. Together with our partners from Vermont State Police, we will work to recover every lead until we bring Brianna home."
Well, they can have that attitude.
Yeah. Because it's been 20 years, and this is March 9th that we're filming this, so it's soon going to be 21 years that she's been missing.
Did you say March 9th?
February 9th. It's February 9th. Yeah.
Birthday's in a few days.
Yes.
Can't rush it.
The big 3-1.
Ew.
So Craig, where is it? Oh, anyone is asked with information to call either 1-800-CALL-FBI, which is 1-800-225-5324, or you can call the Vermont State Police tip line at 1-844-84-VTIPS, which is 1-844-848-8477. At the time of her disappearance, Brianna was about 5'5", 105 pounds, with brown hair and hazel eyes. I know. She was like my size. I'm 5'5.5", 100 pounds. So
yeah, she's a very small girl.
Which also could make her easy to overcome. Yeah. But like then the jiu-jitsu training, it's like
jiu-jitsu or not,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's some big guy, he could easily just pick her up. Like, yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this case, like, really, like, the car is, like, what really drew me into this case, because I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
No one crashes like that.
And make sure you go check out this.
Yeah.
Because we're going to post that.
Mm-hmm.
It'll put it way better.
Yeah. If you don't, especially if you don't know this case, you don't know her name, like, you got to look at those photos, because what the heck?
Yeah. Can't explain it.
No. Can't. So,
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, justice, hopefully, for Brianna.
I know. If we hear any updates, we'll definitely, like, make a little update episode or something.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's all we know right now. So it seems like they're close. But
yeah, they're making strides.
Yeah, they are.
Few years. There's hope.
So if you or anyone you know knows anything, like, please, like, contact one of those numbers. Like, just come forward.
Yeah, please.
Let her family have her, bring her home.
We can solve this case.
Yeah.
But hopefully the bad guy will have better stuff.
I can only hope.
Right.
Well, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for listening.
So make like a shadow and follow us on Instagram.
At Lurking in the Shadows Podcast.
On TikTok.
Lurking in the Shadows Pod.
On Gmail.
Lurking in the Shadows Podcast at gmail.com. Keep lurking around for our next episode.